inside.
He's going up.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, maybe.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. Happy Thursday. This is the happy hour. 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com.
Sad hour.
It is the sad hour. Husker Volleyball falls 3-2 in the regional semifinal to Oregon, the 3 seed in their side of the bracket. It looked like for a while there, Nebraska was going to come back in that fourth set and take it. Had a couple opportunities at match point in the fourth set, but Oregon, give credit to the Ducks, they were able to fight off any Nebraska momentum and eventually took that fourth set 32-30. All right.
You got to remember, this is the same Oregon team that swept Stanford earlier in the season. Stanford's a 1 seed.
Stanford is a 1 seed.
Stanford won the Pac-12, and Oregon swept them earlier in the season. So these are no slouches. They had the 4th best offense in the nation. The Pac-12 freshman of the year, who, my goodness, did she have a game. Mimi Collier, 26 kills, 71 attempts, 8 errors. She hit 254 and also had 13 digs. So she's a true freshman playing all 6 rotations. It's impressive.
Yeah, it is. As always, 402-464-5685, the Honda Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line, both those open for you guys the entire show today, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. You guys can get incorporated into the show that way. Plenty of stuff to get to. We'll talk Husker volleyball. Husker basketball had a tough loss. Husker men's basketball, I should be specific, had a tough loss last night on the road at Indiana. They lose 81-66, I believe was 65 was the final score on that one.
81-65. You are
81-65, a 16-point loss at Assembly Hall. Tough one. They lose Sam Griesel minutes before the match or before the game begins. We realized
send him back to the hotel.
Yeah, I realized that Sam Griesel was going to be inactive last night. So that's tough. And it really took a while for Nebraska's offense to get going and get into any sort of a rhythm last night, just because when you don't have Sam Griesel out there facilitating the rock, and also Sam provides the ability to kind of start backing down some guys in the paint and then kick it out, and Nebraska's offense can run that way. It was tough for Nebraska to generate any sort of offense. However, Husker women's hoops had a big win last night over Wisconsin. They handled the Badgers pretty easily last night through 4 quarters. So Rico is there, so we'll get his thoughts on that as well. But once again, Honda Lincoln hotline, Starter Heyman text line, 402-464-5685, the Honda Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. Cubsker says this on the text line: I apologize, Husker Nation. I watched the volleyball match, and yet again, I jinxed the team. I still have officially never watched the volleyball team win while viewing, so feel free to place the blame on me.
Damn it, Cubsker.
Just like that.
You know better than that.
Don't watch.
How dare you?
Well, that's such a tough thing to do. Do you watch or do you not watch?
Don't watch. Just get the updates.
Just get the updates
Just
from
get
Rico.
the updates from my Twitter.
Yeah, just give the updates from Rico. So Willie says this. We can talk Husker men's basketball here in the first segment. Then we'll kind of dive into in the second segment Husker women's hoops and then transfer portal stuff because there's some news there on some visits this weekend for Nebraska. There's a big one from Rhode Island. You might hear Rhode Island and go, ugh. But when I say it's an offensive lineman who allowed 1 sack in over 500 snaps last year, then you might be a little more interested. So men's basketball last night, Willie says this: I'm giving the hoops team a mulligan. Well, I think what was going to be so interesting this season, and I said this last night while I was kind of watching the highlights and getting updates from Twitter, is that this team is a program that might actually be able to compete with some guys. And they showed it last night. That's one of the more fascinating things as we go forward here, to see how this team responds to not only being competitive against some of the top teams in the country, but also being able to maybe squeak out some wins. Like Nebraska beats Creighton on Sunday, a team that nobody expected Nebraska to beat.
They were supposed to get run out of the gym.
They were supposed to, I mean, they were 14.5-point underdogs going into it, and Nebraska ends up beating them by 10. I mean, that's a 24-point differential compared to the spread, right? And what everybody else is expecting, what Vegas, the odd makers, are expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was more interesting to see how they respond to it. And I'm not really sure how much stock we can put into last night when you don't have your senior point guard and one of your more veteran players on that team.
Yeah, you're missing your floor general. You're missing the guy who, when you do go on scoring droughts, you kind of get the ball to and let him go to work. And in place of him, they started Keisei Tominaga. And no offense to Keisei Tominaga, 6 versus 6 is a huge 6 foot versus 6'6" is a huge difference, especially on the defensive end of things. Where I mean, they were playing tough defense still, but at least I didn't get to watch it. But from what I was hearing and what I was looking at via Twitter, what people were saying, they were playing tough defense. They were closing out on shooters, but Indiana was just hitting shots. And Trace Jackson Davis had himself a day, the third triple double in Indiana history.
Yeah.
But when you're, I guess Keisei wasn't running point guard. They had Emmanuel Bendabel running point guard. But when your floor general, your 6'6" guy who you kind of go to in times of crisis, isn't out there, and you find out minutes before tip, that throws a wrench into your whole system, your whole operation. So I give them a little bit of a mulligan on this, especially considering it's a game of runs. There were multiple times Indiana goes on an 11-0 run. Nebraska answers with a 6-0, 8-0 run. They got to within single digits multiple times. And then when it came down to crunch time, they just didn't have that person that they could, go to, rely on, and just, I don't know, just give the ball to in crunch time.
And Matt says this, how is it a mulligan when they were competitive for 80% of the game without their only point guard, who happens to also be your second best player? And by the way, that's also on the road against the top 15 team. Maybe mulligan's the wrong word, because Matt, you're right. But maybe that's kind of what we're getting at is you put, I suppose to a certain extent, you put a little bit of stock into last night's game, because you were able to stay competitive for 80% of the game, but you don't know that unless you kind of watch the game, I suppose. And
if you look at the final score,
if you watch the game unfold, you would know that Nebraska was down like 17-5.
They were down 22 at one point.
Yeah, like they were down big early on because the rhythm, it struggled. They struggled to get into any sort of rhythm on offense. They didn't shoot the three ball well. CJ Wilcher, once again, we've talked about one of the biggest differences from this team is that they're balanced. They have multiple guys that might go off every other night, where CJ Wilcher had a tough night against Creighton shooting the basketball, but last night he's your leading scorer. He stepped up when Sam Griesel was out. And Derek Walker had a really good game against Creighton, but he didn't struggle last night necessarily, but he went up against a better rim protecting team in Indiana. If you look at Indiana's, they protect the rim. They're the third best team at protecting the rim in percentages wise across the entire country. So having Trace Jackson Davis, having Race Thompson, those two guys down there in the paint kind of protecting the rim, it's a lot tougher statistically to score buckets near or at the basket against Indiana than it was against Creighton. That's just speaking from statistics. And Derek Walker made Kalkbrenner look like smooth as butter, like it was easy, like a baby, on Sunday. And Trace Jackson Davis is a much better player than Ryan Kalkbrenner right now.
Trace Jackson Davis, more physical than Kalkbrenner.
Had a triple-double as well last night.
Kalkbrenner probably more, not athletic, I don't know, skilled?
Potential?
Sure.
How about potential?
Trace Jackson Davis, just tougher.
He's
a Big Ten big.
He's ready. So anyway, I mean, put some stock into it because Nebraska, considering the circumstances, played well enough to stay competitive in that game. And that's why I guess when we opened this segment, I was like, listen, Nebraska, it's going to be interesting to see how they respond to winning against Creighton, then losing against a top 10 team or top 15 team, I guess, last night in Indiana, who lost at the rack against Rutgers, which, by the way, rack is a very difficult place to play. It's not the rack anymore.
They called it something else.
It is, but it's something new. But it's the rack.
Rutgers Athletic Complex.
They call it the rack on the broadcast last night.
Oh, okay, then it's still the rack.
So it's still the rack. But anyway, they lost at Rutgers, which is a tough place to play, and Rutgers also has had Indiana's number the last couple seasons. If you look at that, Indiana struggled to beat the Scarlet Knights. However, now Nebraska gets another opportunity. Here they are against top 5 Purdue. 4th ranked Purdue comes into to PBA and into Lincoln on Saturday. That game, I believe, is at 1:15 p.m. is when tip-off is. It's a doubleheader of Husker men's basketball in the afternoon, and then Husker women's basketball hosts Samford at 7 p.m. that night. So if you want to just stick around for a little double hoops action, you're more than welcome to, obviously, at Pinnacle Bank Arena. But here we go. I mean,
Derek Walker, no time off.
You're starting to enter the gauntlet. Yeah, no time off. You have Kalkbrenner, Trace Jackson Davis, and then Zach Edey now. So
it only gets harder.
Nebraska will have kind of a small, not break or a bye game in there, but it's a game against Queens, who is a new Division I team.
They're like 7-2
from North Carolina
in their first season of D1.
Yeah, that'll be in the Battle of the Vault, and then it's right back to Big Ten play the following games, and you're into that gauntlet that is the Big Ten Conference. So something that Nebraska's just going to kind of have to keep in mind down the road, and Nebraska will try to navigate their way through the grueling schedule. But all right, let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, let's talk a little bit of transfer portal stuff. I'll have to bounce out of here a little bit earlier since it is a Thursday for the final time this semester.
He's got to go to class. He's
final
a youngin'.
It's the final time this semester, so we're okay. But I got to go do a final presentation at 2:00. But anyway,
right.
Let's go ahead and go to break. When we come back, we talk transfer portal, talk about the visits of guys. Also, a very interesting and newly relevant program just paid Malachi Coleman a visit. We'll tell you who it is after the break on the Happy Hour.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Singer and at Radio AC.
There is exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
Acres, your John Deere dealer, is offering year-end blowout savings on in-stock 2022 compact tractors and mowers. Make quick work of chores around your acreage and save over $4,000 on select John Deere compact tractors equipped with a loader and rear blade. Or save up to $1,000 on select 2022 John Deere Z-Trax and lawn tractors. Visit your local Acres store or acres.com to get these great discounts every field. Supplies last.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 9th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisure. But buying new is often expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for a solid, stable career in assembly, CNC machining, or injection molding? We got you covered. Hi, Bob Williams, HR Director for Garner Industries, a world-class manufacturer with a 70-year history right here in Lincoln. And I just listed some great achievements by logging into GarnerIndustries.com. If you want top pay, excellent benefits, flexible work hours, and the opportunity to work in a clean, modern, air-conditioned facility with great people, contact me today by applying online at GarnerIndustries.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Expect increasing cloud cover. A winter weather advisory will be in effect later today, as by late this morning into the early afternoon hours, a wintry mix of light freezing drizzle could move in, creating difficult travel conditions. We do eventually reach a high of around 34. Overnight, mostly cloudy with a low of 27. A high tomorrow of around 41. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome to this demonstration of the SAL 5000, the world's first fully self-aware computer. How are you, Sal?
I'm fine, Dave.
Let's start with basic mathematics. Sal, if someone won $1,000 a day for life playing Lucky for Life from the Nebraska Lottery, how much would they have after 1 week?
$7,000, Dave.
After 1 year?
$365,000, Dave.
After 10 years?
$3,650,000, Dave.
Well done, Sal. Let's go on to physics.
I don't think so, Dave. I'm going to a Nebraska Lottery retailer to buy a Lucky for Life ticket. Since my circuitry will last for 100 years, I would very much like to win $1,000 a day for life. Do whatever you like, Dave. I've called myself a taxi using your smartphone.
Lucky for Life, drawing 7 days a week. Top prize odds 1 in 30 million. Must be human to play.
I'm turning off your mic, Chris.
Sartor Heyman Jewelers says let it snow because a white New Year's Eve could mean free jewelry. Shop from December 1st to December 24th, and if it snows 3 inches or more on New Year's Eve, your purchase is free. Holiday savings throughout the store. 36 months interest-free financing with approved credit. Shop from December 1st to 24th, and if it snows 3 inches or more on New Year's Eve, your purchase is free. Sartor Heyman Jewelers, a Nebraska tradition since 1905.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary, sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Okay, so actually, before we dive into transfer portal stuff really quickly, and I let you know who paid Malachi Coleman a visit today, Husker basketball just locked in a visit, according to On3's Robin Washit.
Give me a second.
Oh, go ahead.
Oop, I gotta find out how to lower this one really fast.
Go ahead and lower that one.
Oh, let's move this down here.
Oh, you need. There it is. So, to a certain extent, it's breaking news.
A little bit.
To a certain extent, it's breaking news. Nebraska men's basketball has locked in an official visit this weekend with a 6'10", 220-pound power forward, Bay Ndongo from Denver, Colorado. He is the third best player in the state of Colorado and the 149th best player in the country.
That's top 150.
He has offers from, let's just roll down this list, Colorado, Arizona State, California, Penn State, Washington, Washington State, and Michigan. And Providence. There we go. So
Washington, Michigan, and Providence, really good basketball schools.
Really good basketball schools. A total of 12 offers for Bay Ndongo. Once again, a 6'10", 6'10", 220-pound power forward out of Denver. Goes to Colorado Prep High School, the third best player in the state of Colorado, according to 24/7 Sports, and the 149th best player in the country.
I like it.
So, hey, I mean, 2023 guy as well, so he'd be one that commits and signs here in the next cycle. But once again, Bay Ndongo. And I might be butchering that first name. It's spelled B-A-Y-E. Bay Ndongo. Ndongo. So...
last name sounds right.
Yeah, unless the end is silent, it's just Dongo.
That is also a possibility.
That's also a possibility. So who knows? I mean, Nebraska's had their fair share of pretty awesome names. Ivan Wadrogo and is the first one that comes to mind for sure. I mean, there's been a lot of these that have popped up. So once again, 402-464-5685, the Honda Lincoln hotline, the Sartor Heyman text line. Okay. So Aaron makes it funny. He says Dion won't let him leave Colorado, even if it is for basketball.
Well, speaking of that,
Speaking of Deion Sanders, Aaron, and all the listeners out there, Malachi Coleman was paid a visit today in home by Tim Brewster. You might be asking, who is Tim Brewster? He coached tight ends at Jackson State under Deion Sanders, and he followed Coach Prime to Boulder. So the Colorado Buffaloes are now in on the recruitment of Malachi Coleman.
Yeah, Malachi ain't coming to Nebraska.
So there's that, and then he was also visited by Jay Harbaugh of the Michigan Wolf. Jay Harbaugh.
Jay.
Not John. Who's the other one? Jim. But who's John? Jay, Jim, and John.
Yes.
Whew.
A lot of Jays.
Yeah. So it was not John Harbaugh, not the Baltimore Ravens Harbaugh. It was not Jim Harbaugh, head coach Harbaugh.
It was
Jay Harbaugh, assistant coach Harbaugh.
There you go.
Who visited Malachi today.
Just the worst.
A lot of Harbaughs.
Can you imagine being the assistant coach as a Harbaugh? You're
Gosh.
not even a head. Come on, Jay.
You are frowned upon.
Come on, Jay.
Speaking of, I don't know if you saw
Where's
this,
Jay's
Rico.
head coaching opportunity?
I don't know. Jay might not. Maybe Jay had a head coaching opportunity and decided.
Damn it, Jay.
And he failed.
Damn it, Jay.
Maybe he failed somewhere.
Look into Jay.
Speaking of new head coaches, I don't know if you saw this, Rico. Former Cowboys head coach Jason Garrett. Did you see where he's emerged as a
Box
finalist?
said. Yeah.
The Stanford Cardinal.
Shout out to Stanford.
Jason Garrett with Stanford.
Has he ever recruited?
Probably not.
Interesting. That's always my thing is guys who weren't in college and just, NFL coaches going back to college. Like, that's kind of hard. I mean, you'll surround yourself with good recruiters and people that know more than you, as a good coach should.
Mm-hmm.
But still, you're going to have to be that closer. You got to go in there and know the right words to say, know exactly what to do. But he also has, I coached in the NFL.
Time out.
I know what it takes to get you there.
We were wrong, Rico. It's not Jay. Jay is not the brother. Jay is Jim's son.
That's even worse.
So he is the special teams coordinator and safeties coach at Michigan. Does not look anything like Jim.
He does not.
Have you seen a picture of him?
I have. I clicked it when I saw
the man does not look like Jim at all.
Yeah, when I saw Jay Harbaugh, I was like, oh, does Jim call himself Jay on Twitter? He does not. It's Jay Harbaugh.
Yikes. I mean, not even close.
Maybe he looks like his mom. I don't know.
Maybe he looks like Mrs. Harbaugh. I couldn't even tell you what Mrs. Harbaugh looks like.
Mother Harbaugh.
So, anyway, Ray says his dad's not mad. He's just disappointed. Anyway, 402-464-5685.
You know who else employs their son on their football team?
Who?
Kirk Ferentz.
Ah, that's right. Which I'm surprised.
You know who else? Hold on. You know who else employs their son on their football team?
Hold on. Don't tell me. What school?
Not a school. Professional.
I don't know.
Bill Belichick.
Oh, see, I did not know that. I didn't know Bill's son was on the Patriots staff.
He's a weird looking dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Bill Belichick's son. Is it, dude? Head coaches' sons just automatically get a shoe in.
Do you know who else has their son on their team? Deion Sanders. Both of them.
That's right. And that's your quarterback. Which
he didn't bring his other son, who's a safety.
Yeah. Well, that Shiloh. Now I get him mixed up, but like Shiloh. Okay, Shiloh. He made Deion mad, so he's not.
That's what he said.
Deion's not allowing him to come.
He's not coming with me. I mean, he made me mad. I don't know what he did.
What did he do? How did he make you so mad? You're like, no, listen, son, I'm not bringing you to Colorado.
And then his eldest son is the one that runs the YouTube account.
Yeah. I find it so interesting how he just always has a camera on around him.
It is weird. I understand it.
I mean, he's a walking billboard.
I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Deion's going to make Colorado look cool, and I don't like that.
Yeah. I'm. So, did you see the new prices for the tickets, the cheapest tickets for Colorado yesterday?
I saw they already went on sale. So.
They already went on sale. So a couple days ago, it was like $194, which is pretty expensive for the cheapest ticket available. The next day, yesterday, I read in an article with The Athletic that the cheapest ticket was $473.
Like, okay, so I understand that the 80 kind of put a challenge out there, and Nebraska fans love to prove that they're the best fans in the nation. They love to travel. But counterpoint, don't go to the game because you're paying for Deion's salary.
That's true. We don't have the money yet, but we're going to have it.
And that's exactly why he put the challenge out there. He knew Nebraska fans would fall for the bait, and we're all paying for Deion's salary. Stop it. Don't go to the game.
I wonder, so
everybody watch on TV.
So in reality, he's okay with Nebraska taking over the stadium because that means that Nebraska fans are paying for Deion's salary.
Exactly.
But hey, Nebraska's going to be there. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe about 3/5 of that stadium full.
It will at least be half full. At the very least.
How electric.
Half full
that
by
is going to be
fans.
so. See, here's the deal is a lot of Nebraska fans aren't even thinking about the Minnesota game, though.
Minnesota.
You have a road game against Minnesota week 1.
Yeah, everybody's kind of writing off Minnesota, which could be a problem.
They just extended PJ Fleck.
You want to start 1-0 heading to Colorado.
Yeah, there's a lot less buzz if you're 0-1 going into Colorado.
Because Colorado's going to be 0-1.
But I mean, think about the
back home.
how electric it would be if Nebraska is 1-0 and they handle Minnesota next year.
That'd be nice.
In Matt Rule's first game,
you're gonna have
to
because
finally beat PJ Fleck.
You're gonna have to because game day is going to be there. I guarantee you, game day is going to be there
at Colorado.
Yes,
Ooh,
guarantee.
I don't know.
You.
Okay, so
if Nebraska, hold on, because Nebraska has Minnesota. Okay, I guarantee if Nebraska wins, game day will be there because Colorado opens the season at TCU. They will be 0-1.
Colorado will be
0-1 heading back home. But Nebraska, if you're 1-0 and you don't even have to handle Minnesota, but if you're 1-0 going into Colorado, it's a battle of two brand new coaches, two programs who have kind of fallen off the map.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got, as you said, the walking billboard in Deion Sanders, prime time, going for his first home win.
Opens up at TCU. That's
going for his first home win at a Power 5 institution, going up against an old rival from the Big 8, Big 12 era in Nebraska, who, oh, by the way, has a brand new coach who has had success in the collegiate rankings and is newly fired out of the NFL ranks.
Yeah.
Game day will be there.
I think, Joe Cloud has said that he already wants Big Noon kickoff there. So
I don't want Big Noon.
Big Noon's close to beating out College.
I don't want Big Noon.
Big Noon is getting close to taking game.
You know why? Because I need Deion Sanders and Lee Corso on the same set.
Lee Corso's not being a part of game day.
I love Lee Corso. One more year.
Lee Corso needs to hang him up.
One more year.
Lee Corso needs to hang up the heads.
You leave Lee Corso.
He needs to.
I like Kirk Herbstreit.
I like Kirk too.
Pat McAfee doesn't do it. Actually.
Oh, really?
Hold on.
You don't like Pat McAfee?
It's going to be game day because Pat McAfee, Deion both work for Barstool also.
You don't like Pat McAfee?
I do. He just...
But you like RG3.
Love him.
I like McAfee way more than RG3.
I think it's because RG3 doesn't have a podcast where he says like all the same things and wears a cutoff.
You have to remember the Bear's not going to be with game day anymore.
Tragic.
He's with Big Noon.
I know he is.
So, game day really took a step back when they allowed Maria Taylor to walk, when they allowed Tom Rinaldi to walk,
How dare you?
When they allowed the Bear to walk. Now Lee Corso's retiring.
He needs to ride off into the sunset.
He needs to be
after
done.
this next year.
He is done.
One more year.
That man, it was a gamble of whether or not he was going to be on the set.
He was off and on.
Yeah, he was not. Yeah. All right, let's get to break. When we come back, it'll be Nate and Rico and Strick for the crossover as they wrap up Thursday's show on the Happy Hour on 93.7 The Ticket.
Download our app by searching 93.7 Ticket in your app store and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Life's special moments deserve to be celebrated. Since 1959, Riddle's Jewelry has been family-owned, and we're honored to be part of your family's most cherished moments. Riddle's will help you make this holiday special with savings of up to 50% on our sparkling selection of diamond, gemstone, and gold jewelry. Shop our holiday sale to find the perfect gift to celebrate the amazing memories this year has made. Riddle's Jewelry, for life's special moments since 1959.
Located inside Gateway Mall. Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsterats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
Hey guys, this is Lindsay Teal from Nebraska Golf Team. Imagine golfing the best courses in the world. St. Andrews, Pebble Beach, Southern Hills, the best of the best. You can play those courses and more without ever leaving the city of Lincoln at Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle has the city's best golf simulators, 5 high-quality bays that track ball speed, launch angle, club speed, spin rate, and more to give you the most accurate gameplay. Check it out for yourself year-round. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
Acres, your John Deere dealer, is offering year-end blowout savings on in-stock 2022 compact tractors and mowers. Make quick work of chores around your acreage and save over $4,000 on select John Deere compact tractors equipped with a loader and rear blade. Or save up to $1,000 on select 2022 John Deere Z-Tracks and lawn tractors. Visit your local Acres store or acres.com to get these great discounts. Acres, solutions for every field. Discounts available on in-stock units while supplies last.
Sartor Heyman Jewelers says, let it snow, because a white New Year's Eve could mean free jewelry. Shop from December 1st to December 24th, and if it snows 3 inches or more on New Year's Eve, your purchase is free. Holiday savings throughout the store. 36 months interest-free financing with approved credit. Shop from December 1st to December 24th, and if it snows 3 inches or more on New Year's Eve, your purchase is free. Sartor Heyman Jewelers, a Nebraska tradition since 1905.
Decking the halls with boughs of holly sure sounds great until you're the one who has to do it. Take the stress out of your holiday parties this year and host your gatherings at Suite A Events by Mary Ellen's. Suite A is the perfect place for your year-end company parties or other large gatherings. Suite A and Mary Ellen's can handle the food, the desserts, the decorations, and of course, those holiday spirits. See for yourself online at suiteaevents.com or at 27th and Pine Lake, right next to Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul.
Life-changing research doesn't just take place in outer space. It's also happening right here in Nebraska, and you could play a key role. Solarion, one of the world's leading clinical research organizations, needs healthy adults who are 19 years old and older for a research opportunity. If you qualify, you could earn up to $500 a day for time and travel. Overnight stays may be required. To learn more, call Solarion at 866-213-2965 or visit helpresearch.com/500.
Hi, I'm Charlie Stone, and I'm back with Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, you said to me earlier you have a lot going on at the dealership. Can you tell our listeners about it?
Sure can, Charlie. As I've said before, if you don't see a vehicle on our lot that you're looking for, it's probably on its way soon.
So, how many new Hondas do you have in stock or on the way?
We have a total of over 325, Charlie, with a great selection of Pilots and Ridgelines in stock right now.
Well, we have been talking about the Honda of Lincoln way of buying cars for several months. How is that going?
People love it. We're buying all makes and models, whether they purchase the car from us or not. I mean, really, it's a no hassle, and we will pay them cash on the same day.
Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Me paré, caminé, me subí, me fui contra la corriente y también me perdí, fracasé, me encontré, lo viví y aprendí cuando te pega fuerte más profundo es el beat.
Boricua, welcome back. Happy hour on 93.7 The Ticket. Not so happy hour really for me. I'm sad.
Sad, Rico.
Sad boy hours.
Estoy.
Not estoy.
Está
Because
casado.
Husker Volleyball lost.
Oh, no,
3
no,
in
no,
5
no,
sets
no.
to the Pac-12 runners-ups in Oregon.
Oh, that's so sad, bro. What are we going to do now this winter?
Well, now we got to focus on basketball.
Well,
and now Omaha's not going to be bumping because Nebraska won't be there.
They will not.
It'll
be
more
there.
than likely be. Well, I mean, Louisville's playing Baylor right now, but look, it'll more than likely be all 1 seeds. Texas, Stanford, Louisville, Wisconsin.
Just like that.
Was Nebraska 1 seed last year?
No, they were 10 seed.
A 10 seed?
Yeah.
They made a run.
And they made the Final Four.
I mean, like,
they made a championship game.
I mean,
Well,
like
they
10
beat 10
seed overall.
Yeah.
No, like
just
10
in
seed.
their
Like in their region, they were a 10 seed.
Really?
Yeah.
So they were like the 40th overall team.
Something like that.
I did not know that. Wow.
But they made a run. I mean, what they
made the
beat
championship
Texas.
game.
And
Yeah.
I mean, some
Yeah.
of the teams that they beat were just like you were like, whoa, you know. Yeah.
But unfortunately, not meant to be this year. dealt with a lot of injuries.
What do you think? Is that what you would say? The injuries
injuries
is really
this
the
season.
thing?
Kind of
The
threw them
rotations
off.
off?
Threw them off every once in a while. They were trying to deal with who they were going to run in the 6-2, what setters they were going to run. Because again, people are going to complain. We had a long text on here, somebody saying that this season is completely on John Cook because he didn't know who he was going to play at setter and he kept jerking around the lineups. And well, he's trying to figure out a lineup that worked. Because he's got so many attackers. He wanted to stick with a 6-2 because it got them all on the floor, and you had the ability to serve all of them or to set all of them to get them all involved. But the problem was Nickelheim wasn't supposed to be a setter. It was supposed to be Kennedy, it was supposed to be Kennedy, or she was missing a lot of sets during practices. John Cook didn't feel comfortable putting her out there. And then Ani Evans kind of the same way. And if you run a 6 or a 5, wait, hold on. 5-1 with her. She's a little short to go in the front row. She's a little undersized. Nicklin Hames is about 5'10". I think Ani Evans is about 5'8". Nicklin was able to get up high and get a couple blocks here and there. So he was just running into this issue of who he was going to play because Kennedy Orr is a 6-footer and she would have been really great in the front row. She was able to block, get some kills if she needed to. But again, she was missing some sets. So ended up bringing Nicklin Hames back in as a setter instead of just a defensive specialist that she was supposed to be. And kind of ran off with that, ran the 6-2 all season. And then Kenzie Knuckles gets hurt at the most inopportune time, just a freak injury, tearing her ACL while she's backpedaling during practice.
Wow.
They end up losing to Wisconsin in 4 sets 2 days later. Minnesota the day after that, and it put down to the 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. They can't host a regional, and one thing led to another, and here they are.
That's how it goes.
I also don't know. Are we really going to attack a coach for making it to the Sweet 16? I know there's high expectations, but come on now.
Well, let's talk about
final
that. Before you answer, I just want to throw this. It is very similar to the same thing that they do with Nick Saban.
True. Very good comparison, actually.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like
you don't
go
make
ahead.
it in the
I'm going to let
playoff.
you answer,
Yeah.
but
you don't make it in the playoff. You're awful.
You're
Get
the
out.
worst thing ever.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're success. And thank you, everybody's correcting me. They were a 10th overall seed
I was
last
about to
year,
say, I didn't think
so they were a 3 seed. But
Oh,
even
3
then,
seed.
it was
Yeah.
normally it's chalk for this. So them making it was still very impressive. But anyway, going past that, your own success is held against you. I mean, you make the Final Four, you make the championship game year after year. You lose in the round of 16, and it seems like it's a massive disappointment. But you got to think, they had a great season. They had a really good season despite dealing with so many injuries and going to a 6-2, which is something that John Cook does not like to run. He wants to run a 5-1, but they had to go to a 6-2 because of everything that they were dealing with, and still making the run that they did, only losing 5 matches during the regular season. Still a fantastic season, but in terms of Nebraska expectations, in terms of Nebraska's where they've been year after year, it's a disappointing season.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a failure of a season, and I wouldn't, try to put all the blame on John Cook. It's just disappointing. I mean, it happens. Sometimes you get upset.
Based on what they have leaving and what they have staying, how do you view them?
So they're losing. So Maddie Kubik, Kenzie Knuckles said they're not coming back. Nicklin Hames, she's exhausted her eligibility, but she'll be back as a grad assistant. Caitlin Horde won't be back, but let me think. I believe that's it that's leaving. They might have some transfers out. I don't know, but they have the number 1 recruiting class coming in again.
I know that, yeah.
The number 1 recruiting class coming in again. Kennedy Orr is going to have some competition because the setter that they have coming in was the number 1 ranked setter in the nation. And oh, by the way, as a senior in high school, she was the backup setter for the
Olympic
women's
the
national
young,
team
yeah.
at the World Tournament down in, I believe, Brazil is where they were. I don't know exactly where they were, but she was the backup setter for the women's senior national team. So Kennedy Orr is going to have some trouble. She was a former number 1 overall recruit herself. If she doesn't pick up her game and get to that level that John Cook and herself and really everybody thinks that she can get to, she might not be starting next year. And maybe they run another 6-2. Maybe they go with a 5-1 because, again, that's what John Cook wants to run. We'll see. But another fantastic recruiting class coming in. They've got amazing, freshmen in Becca Alec and Maggie Mendelson here with them. And the sophomore class is still going strong with Lindsey Krause, Allie Batenhorst, and Whitney Launstein. So they're building for the future, and I think next year is going to be another strong team.
Good.
You just got to be careful. This is all I'll say is be careful what you wish for when you start coming at coaches and coming at programs, because look at what happened to football. And you can even throw basketball into this discussion too. I know that Tim Miles teams were probably hit their ceiling and it was probably time for him to go. But I mean, you look at your two top big money makers in the athletic program and look at where they're at and look at where they were. All I'm going to say is be careful. You have a good thing going here. Let's pump the brakes on criticizing John Cook a little bit.
I mean, you can criticize him, but and we have another text.
16, like, come on.
The criticism of the coaching job is because of the lack of decisiveness about the setter, not the one out for the season. You have to make a decision at some point because even up to the last match today, this team did not know who the QB was. You cannot perform at your best that way. But the thing is, they practice with all the setters in practice, so they know how each one sets. Yes, It's a little bit different, but they know how each one of them sets. And the thing is, John Cook loves to set middle. He loves to get his middles involved. The best setter when setting middle, Ani Evans. You don't want Ani Evans in the front row because, again, she's 5'8". They ran out of subs in the fourth set, and that forced Ani Evans and Maisie Bosiger into the front row. That's 5'8" and 5'6" in the front row.
Wow.
That's not something that you can do, especially against the number 4 ranked offense in Oregon.
Right.
So that was another problem that they ran into. And look, he didn't want to play Nicklin at setter this year. She was supposed to be a defensive specialist. Kennedy Orr was supposed to take the keys to the car, and she didn't develop the way that he thought she was going to. And you can't just say, well, leave her in there, let her take her lumps. Because if you lose too many matches, if she's in there taking her lumps and she's missing sets, she's getting called for setting errors and double touches game after game, match after match, you end up dropping a couple matches here and there. You know, you're not a 1 seed or a 2 seed. You might be a 4 seed.
Yeah.
And that's even an even harder path to the Final Four. So he did what he thought was the best option available, and it led to them only losing 5 matches this season.
Well, this is the same thing that Jimbo Fisher is really being criticized for right now because, you know, they really felt that DJ should have been moved around and Cade Klubnik should have been the guy implemented. And it was that indecision that they felt.
You mean Dabo Sweeney?
Dabo Sweeney.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Over Clemson.
Also, no, my guy, I'm not comparing
Who did
John
I say?
Cook to Pliny and Miles.
I don't know who
you said. Jimbo Fisher.
I said Jimbo. Yeah. Oh, gosh.
No, I'm not comparing John Cook to Bellini and Miles by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying be very careful what you wish for. Because when you look at coaches like that, they were criticized at the moment. I know it's not to the same spectrum. There's higher expectations for volleyball. Volleyball has been at the very top of the sport. But we saw them. I mean, there's a lot of Husker fans that probably take 9 wins right now. Probably a lot of Husker fans that take an NIT berth right now for basketball. That's all I'm going to say.
Interesting.
That's all.
I have no.
And I know that's.
no
I
qualms
just.
about that.
I know a lot of Husker fans that would like that.
Look, it was a
Be
season.
careful.
It was a season
Let's
of
not
ups
go
and downs.
criticizing coaches that are good coaches.
It was a season of
good
ups
coach.
and downs, and you
He's a
you
good coach.
had to deal with a couple key injuries. And look, if you have Kenzie Knuckles, who knows how this match goes? Who knows? Maybe they beat Oregon, but you didn't, and you didn't have her. You didn't win. That's it.
Yeah.
Move on to the next season.
Yeah.
Reload. It's not like you have to.
long
You don't.
offseason.
Yeah, you don't have to rebuild.
They'll be
Just
fine.
reload for
They'll be
John Cook and this Husker volleyball team, and we'll wait till next season, and we'll see where the Red Kingdom takes us. John Cook and this Husker volleyball team. Great season. Disappointing ending. Now we wait. And now we focus on men's and women's basketball. The women with a big win over Wisconsin. The men, tough loss to Indiana. I'm sure you guys will get into that a lot
We'll
more.
break
But
it
that's
down. We'll break it down.
that's going to do it for me on the happy hour. Up next, the guys from On the Block break down a little bit of basketball. You guys have yourself a good one. Adios.
Welcome to this demonstration of the SAL 5000, the world's first fully